I told my dad about my first girlfriend sophomore year in college. I called him up and was like, okay, Daddy, I have something to tell you. Are you sitting down? He was like, Chantelle, just tell me. So I said, okay, so I'm dating a girl. He was like, okay. And then I told him who it was, and he says, well, duh. I was like, wait a minute, you already knew? He said Chantelle was pretty obvious. So then came the huge question, how do you feel about that? What do you think? And he gave me the most honest and loving answer I could have asked for. He said, well, I wish she was a guy and I hope it's just a phase, but it's your life and I will never love you any less. I was like, okay, that's cool. I can live with that. I came out to my team at the very beginning of junior year, and it was something I had to do because there wasn't a huge gay culture at Vanderbilt. And so people had started to talk a little bit, started to wonder. And so me and this other gay girl on the team called this meeting. And when she told them, she started crying and she was like, this is just who I am. I hope you don't look at me any differently as a person. And so that was her story. And then when it was my turn, I was like, look, do I date guys? Yeah. Do I date girls? Yeah. I basically do whatever I want. I think y'all all know who my girlfriend is. And I don't ask what you do in your bedroom, and what goes on in my bedroom doesn't really matter. Let's win. And that's really how it went. I really never cared what people thought about how I lived my life. And I still don't really. I was actually really excited to tell people because I had liked girls ever since 3rd grade. The first girl I had a crush on was this pretty little Filipino girl named Jan in my class. And I never told anyone, so no one ever told me those feelings were wrong or anything. They felt super natural to me, but they didn't necessarily feel right. And so I had hoped they would go away, but they never did. So in high school, I started being super boy crazy so that people wouldn't notice how much I was really checking out girls. So I always knew that I would date girls, but it's kind of funny because when I started dating my first girlfriend in college, I never really called myself gay. I just said, oh, well, I just love her. I just love this one girl. And I really felt like that. But over the 2 years that we dated, I went from she's the only girl I will ever love to I can't see myself dating a guy. And I didn't realize how that progression, how it was happening. I didn't even notice. But I tried to go back to men after we broke up, and it was hard. I was like, yeah, no, this is not gonna work. It's funny because I've always been super femme, and so people used to be like, oh, you're not really gay. You just like women for their personalities. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? I like women for the same reason you like them. I won't elaborate now. But seriously, one of my exes used to call me the gayest person she had ever met, which is quite a big statement considering who our circle of friends were. So yeah, I just loved women. I could tell you a million stories about the almost 10 years that I dated women, and they would all be crazy awesome. But it was about my 5th year in the WNBA when God, through a series of circumstances, started to get my attention. He started to tap me on the shoulder a little bit, and I started to think about whether what I was doing was right. And I realized that I hadn't really thought about that since the first time I kissed a girl and decided I didn't care if it was right or not. God used that one thought to start ripping my heart open, and from that point, I knew what he was telling me to do. My first prayer about it was pretty funny. I said, okay, God, I hear what you're telling me to do, and I just want you to know that I'm gonna be lonely and never fall in love and be miserable for the rest of my life. And when I am, it's gonna be all your fault. But you're telling me to do it, so I'm gonna try it your way. I'd appreciate some help. Yeah, that was my first prayer. I literally went off on the creator of the universe, but that's how I felt. And that's the thing. Satan has done a really good job of convincing us that if we do things God's way, we're gonna be miserable, and that doing it our way is our only chance at happiness. But God says that if we do it his way, we will be joyful. He promises us that. And I didn't even know that said it in the Bible, but I started to experience that in my life. As soon as I started to try and do things God's way, I started to feel this joy. And I didn't know where it was coming from because it definitely wasn't coming from the circumstances in my life at that point because they all sucked. So I knew that it had to be coming from God. So I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I quit women cold turkey and never looked at another one, touched another one. That would be a lie. changing your life is never easy or quick, but it is possible. And that's really what I want to tell people today. If you are in the gay lifestyle and you're fine, you feel completely peaceful, never been convicted, don't care about the consequences, or don't believe there are any, then that's fine. I'm not talking to you, because it's not my job to change your heart. But I have had so many conversations with women who know my previous lifestyle and come up to me like, Chantelle, how did you do it? Because I have tried and tried and tried, and I feel really convicted by this, but I just can't leave. I've had women who are super out and proud and have everything at their fingertips, the most beautiful people at their fingertips, crying on my lap and crying on my shoulder because they feel so tortured. They know what God is telling them to do, but at the same time they love women and don't believe that they can do it. Those are the women that I'm talking to. If that is you, then I'm talking to you. And one of the scriptures that really, really helped me, was one of the first ones I ever learned, was, for we walk by faith, not by sight. Because in my sight, I couldn't see how I could ever be happy doing life God's way, ever. But I kept telling myself, okay, I can't see it, but I'm gonna walk by faith. I'm gonna walk by faith. And that really, really helped me. One thing I can say is that I am happier and more fulfilled now than I ever was. Even when I was head over heels in love with a woman that I wanted to marry, that I would have spent the rest of my life with, I am happier now than I was then. And that is nothing but God. If you are one of those women, I'm asking you, I'm begging you, reach out to me. Please, I want to help you, because there is a way that you can have your happiness and your peace and an amazing relationship with God all at the same time. And you just got to walk by faith. And I will grab your hand and pull you along until you can walk by yourself. I promise to do that. And I would love to, because I just want to share this experience. I mean, my life is so different now. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm just like, whoa, this is crazy how different my life is and how much more joyful I am. And especially for someone that was totally just in it. I did not care at all. And it's possible. That's all I can say. It is possible, and it will happen. Call me.